Hello, guys and gals. Today, we continue the topic of the battle system in this project. Last time we discussed combat and defensive abilities, and today we're diving deeper. Let's discuss the weapon arts and magic. For starters, let's discuss and showcase the weapon arts. As you probably know, Vagrant's story, a major reference for this project, has special system of power moves for each weapon category, known as break arts. Dark Souls games have their own form of this feature, known as weapon arts, but those are actually per weapon, though many weapons share them. So for this project, I decided to go in the middle, taking best of both worlds. On one hand, I decided to maintain the basic structure of Vagrant's story, having per category moves rather than per weapon ones. On the other hand, unlike in Vagrant's story and like in Dark Souls, these moves aren't just single target damage type ones. There can be buffs or restoration moves, or even AoE techniques. Also, unlike Vagrant's story, weapon arts in this game will use energy instead of health, but in amounts that rival that of break arts, making them viable if cost expensive super attacks, as opposed to blood price moves that are invalidated by additional grind for stats. The idea behind this change is to integrate weapon arts usage into the game as a fully viable move system that has no drawbacks aside from increased energy costs, making it a highly strategic alternative to combos, magic, and consumables. The progression system was loosely adopted from Vagrant's story. As you know from previous videos, there is no distinctive leveling system plan for the main character in this project. On the other hand, there needs to be a progressive system that allows acquiring new weapon arts for the same weapon category as player progresses throughout a game. In Vagrant's story, there was no explicitly established weapon level system as such, and the only information you can get is how many break arts you know for the weapon, if you have at least one, as well as how many experience points or kills you need to achieve for the next break art to be learned. Effectively, this means there are 5 levels for each weapon category in that game, with levels 2 to 5 each giving a new break art to player. In this game's case, however, I decided to expand on the idea and give players even more incentive to level up specific categories. The new progression system includes 10 levels for each weapon category, with passive bonuses like enhanced hit rate, critical rate, cut action costs, and other ones being sprinkled in together with the weapon arts obtained at different levels, in a way that the last weapon art is still obtained at the last level. At the same time, the experience points distribution mechanic was also changed. Instead of each enemy kill being 1 point, different enemies will now have specific experience value assigned and tied to them, with stronger enemies providing more points upon defeat. When the enemy is defeated, the weapon category currently equipped by player receives a related amount of points. Additionally, there are plans to include experience points multipliers for different game difficulty settings. Now for the specifics. The first weapon category I've implemented these for is the Knuckles, just like with normal and combo attacks earlier. The first Knuckles weapon art, Lion Fist, is a long-range projectile attack that seeks to counterbalance the typically tight close range of Knuckles as a category in general. It is non-elemental and uses blast contact type, regardless of the weapon's current elemental and contact types. The second weapon art, Brazen Up, is a self-targeting buff that increases both strength and agility at the same time, both being stats that play the main part in physical damage output of other attacks. The uniqueness of this buff is that it enhances 2 stats at the same time, unlike magic or consumables that will target only one specific stat at max. The third move, Smash Dive, is a mid-range area of effect attack with middle power output that also carries additional status effect of stunning enemies. Stunning will block enemy actions for some additional time. It should be used strategically to regroup and heal or set up additional buffs. Also, a multi-target attack provides a comfortable base level of crowd control in battle. Unlike the first art, this one uses the current element type of the weapon, but the contact type is always Smash, regardless of the actual current type of the weapon. The final weapon art, attainable at level 10, is Wild Barrage, a powerful single-target fire elemental combo-like sequence that uses the current contact type of the equipped weapon. It is meant to be a powerful finisher with high output, tied in performance only to a lengthy combo, a truly worthwhile reward for maxing out the Knuckles category. This concludes the weapon arts demonstration for Knuckles. Other weapon categories will receive their own arts as soon as they are implemented. Now for the magic. The three main references for this mechanic were Vagrant Story, Dark Souls, and unexpectedly, the Elder Scrolls Oblivion. Also, as was the case with weapon arts, some original ideas were implemented in this case too. First of all, the common rule is that all magic spells will consume mana points for initial activation. There will be 6 categories of magic in this game: Demolition, Restoration, Alteration, Conjuration, Transformation, and Teleportation. Each magic spell will have 5 levels that progressively enhance its effects, range and duration of effect, or cut the casting costs. Unlike weapon arts, magic will only be learnable and upgradable through discovery and usage of magic scrolls. The first type of scrolls will work similar to Grimoires and Vagrant Story, where, when used as consumable, it will grant the associated spell to player upon first use. Additionally, when using this type of scroll with specific spell, when the spell is already learned, it will allow to level up the associated spell's level, assuming it's not maxed out yet. The second type of scrolls will be farmable from caster-type enemies, and will only be usable as a means to level up the previously learned magic. On the other side, these scrolls are only going to be tied loosely to the specific category of spells, not to a specific single spell. And now, let's talk about the categories. Judging by their names, you can see where the Oblivion as a reference came in. The Destruction magic is your basic attack spells. Fireballs, blizzards, thunderstorms, things like that. For now, only the Fireball spell is implemented for testing purposes. Restoration magic is a healing and curing repertoire of spells. Health restoration, both instantaneous and gradual, status effect removal, and so on. There is also a plan to healing is reversed for undead kind of mechanic, but now it's still in the process of being implemented. For now, the only spell implemented is the basic heal. Unlike Vagrant Story, it's not self-only, as you will be able to heal future implemented allies and summons too. Alteration magic is a list of utilitarian spells, buffs and debuffs, traps detection and disarming, time stopping, chests and doors unlocking, and other stuff. For now, there's only the power-up spell implemented, which applies the strength buff on the target. As with the healing spell, it allows choosing targets in the radius, meaning you can buff allies and summons too. Conjuration magic is all about summoning minions to player's side. To help with the battles, summons will move independently, loosely following you unless there are valid targets in their field of vision. Summons will work for limited time and disappear either once the time is up or when defeated with their health reaching 0. The list of summons will cover many of the creatures that are normally enemies in the game, as well as several special creatures uniquely implemented as summons, very similar to Castlevania's Symphony of the Night, where there are special familiars like Sword and Fairy Ones. For now, there's a test spell for summoning Skeleton, but it doesn't do anything because the summoning mechanic itself is in the process of being implemented. The two last categories, Transformation and Teleportation, are special and are currently being implemented too. Transformation is a set of story-given spells that will work very much like Kamen Rider and Super Sentai transformations, altering player characters' visuals and abilities heavily once transformed, for a limited time, and will use the special forged resource gauge for sustaining the transformation. The spells themselves will only be receivable via main story and side quests, but will also be upgraded by finding the appropriate category spell upgrade scrolls once learned. Lastly, the Teleportation category is another special set of spells. Specifically, there will only be 2 spells in this category. Teleportation to the Workshop, which works loosely like a version of Nexus from Demon Souls, and a warp to any of the previously unlocked save points, much like it works in Dark Souls. As you can see, the work on the project continues, particularly on the combat system at the moment, but given everything actually takes much more time getting implemented, as I only have a time to work on in my free time, I can no longer have a predefined plan of releasing the videos for this vlog. And so I decided that the further video releases for the vlog will be tied to actual points where I have substantial progress to show, rather than just tied to specific schedule. Hope you like what I had to present in this video. The next one will expand the combat system functionality even more, with consumables and other actions. Have a good day. Peace out.